Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are here right now with Franchesca today. So, as I kind of mentioned a few times in a Facebook group and on some of my platforms, whatever it is, the new strategy, the new direction that we're going to be going with the Real Marketer podcast are live one-on-one coaching calls. It's a little bit of a gamble for me, obviously, because we've got 1 hour, and my goal is in 1 hour we're going to try to identify some problems that you're facing in your business, try to find the next big opportunity. I'm very confident. Primarily because I have the power of the scale engine on my side, is that I'm very comfortable with that framework. I created the framework. And so that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. And Franchesca has so generously volunteered herself to kind of come onto the show and I guess be the guinea pig for the day. So I appreciate that, Franchesca. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So tell me a little bit about yourself, like how long you've been in the industry. What's your story?
So, I've been in the industry for 2 years now in November. So, I got my license in November of 2020, kind of like at the beginning of the pandemic. It has been two very challenging years. 2021, needless to say, was a blur, honestly speaking. In 2022, in January, kind of started catching momentum. I have done not a lot of transactions, probably 8 transactions in 2022. And I mean, 2022 is already almost over. So, but yeah, so basically that's the story. This business has taught me just resilience, I think, for the most part,
Yeah.
and a lot of emotional strength. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, I can go deeper into that, but I would say challenging. It's been challenging.
Okay. So you mentioned, so which market are you in right now?
Fort Worth.
Fort Worth. And that's Texas. That's like in Texas, near Dallas, yeah?
Yes,
Okay. And what's the average price points in your area?
385,
Okay.
385, 400s.
Okay. So what are your goals then for 2023, let's say? What do you want to happen?
So, goals for 2023 is essentially creating a system where I can capture leads. I did move to Fort Worth from San Antonio 3 years ago, so my sphere of influence has not been great per se. All my sphere is in San Antonio, so that has been a little bit of a challenge because I don't know a lot of people here, but breaking into the industry as a new agent and not having that sphere, I guess it's hurt me a little bit, but I keep pushing. I stay positive, but the goal is to develop strategies that will take my business to the next level and obviously learn. I think that there's so much more to learn out there to optimize your business. Obviously, you're one of those people that provides so much knowledge and are always in the know to what's out there for realtors to elevate our business. So that's the goal. But definitely, I don't plan my year with a certain amount of like
Right.
numbers. I really just want I plan it as transactions where I just want at least close 24 transactions in 2023. And that's really the goal, whether they are 200,000 or 500,000. It's just I just want to close 24 transactions in 2023.
Gotcha. Okay. So which demographic do you, well, actually, before we get into that, let me ask, how did you find the transactions that you had in 2022?
In 2022, I found them through referrals, actually. I know a lot of people in San Antonio, and some of them are fellow realtors. So in 2023, I joined a team, and they have been referrals, basically,
from other agents in San Antonio.
from other agents in San Antonio, and of course, my team has referred some transactions to myself. Yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
you're on a team right now. Are you splitting 50-50 with them?
Actually, I left that team. I joined the team in July. I mean, I'm sorry, in May, and I left the team in July. So right now I'm flying as a solo agent,
Okay.
which is the other challenge that, I have to come up with my own leads and chase the business. Although the referrals or the leads that she was providing didn't really pan out. They were not legit per se leads. I wasted a lot of time on a lot of those leads, calling them, chasing them, and they were never serious buyers or sellers.
That was on the leads that your team leader provided, you're saying, yeah?
That's correct, yes. They
Gotcha.
were Zillow leads, Realtor.com leads, Facebook leads, all kinds of leads you can name that came from. But needless to say, they never really pan out.
Okay. So how many leads did you get from your actual team leader versus Zillow? Or sorry, versus referrals?
Well, I did get a lot of leads from my team lead. The problem was I never converted those leads.
Oh, sorry. I meant how many transactions did you get? That's what I meant to say. How many transactions did you get from your team leader?
Probably four.
Okay, so that's yeah. So there's basically a split 50-50 between referrals and
Mhm.
leads, and the reason that that's obviously disproportionate is because this team leader or team is supposed to be feeding you leads 24/7, and
Right.
a referral is basically whenever it pops into someone's head. Yet it's 50-50.
Mhm.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of demographic, like what kind of uh age group niche do you enjoy working with the most?
Well, I enjoy working with. I wouldn't per se say I have a specific and a specific niche, and maybe that's my problem. I just honestly really just love helping people. For a while there, I was going through. I was targeting. What do you call that? The Hispanic community for a while there, and I found myself in a rabbit hole
Why do you say that?
because they are, and this is not to sound bad, but this is where I found out that they are not, there's a lot of holding hands and a lot of guidance, which I don't mind if they are serious buyers. But because they were not serious buyers, I found myself wasting a lot of time trying to chase that business in that niche,
Gotcha.
if that makes sense. Also, there are a lot of I-10 holders, which is a whole different qualification criteria, I would say, as far as getting approved. And if you want to help somebody buy a house and they're like, yes, I have this amount of money, say that, let's say $50,000, but I can prove where that money is coming from. And a lot of that is that the not to sound discriminatory in any way, but that's reality.
Yeah.
That in the Hispanic community, they have the money, but yet they can prove where that money is coming from.
Gotcha.
Basically, they just find me a house, I'll go see it. If I like it, I'll buy it, and that's it. And it doesn't work that way.
So the
So that's,
Hispanic, basically the Hispanic demographic would be like a good complement. The fact that you speak Spanish is a nice thing to have, but in terms of pigeonholing yourself into it, and I
yeah,
don't usually like that word, but in this case, it is a bit of a rabbit hole, like you mentioned.
it is a rabbit hole. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So then let's talk a little bit about yourself. Let's take a back end approach, and we'll figure out who you are, and then we'll figure out what your demographic is. Do that. What do you like to do? Like let's pretend we're meeting each other for the first time. Obviously, I know you're a realtor, but just talk about yourself as a person.
Well, about me, I have really a passion for helping people, and to be part of that journey is a whole different feeling. I got into real estate not really for the money, but really to make a difference in myself and the people that I come across. My life, and I'm just really passionate about being part of the people's journey with obtaining wealth through real estate. So basically, I've always been in the service of helping people, whether it's with my job, with taking a risk with investing in other kind of businesses, whether it's in health and wellness, because I think that that's really important to keep in mind. But just about me is that I love helping people,
And
and
did you mentioned,
real
sorry,
estate real
I
estate
interrupted you
gets
really
me.
quickly because
Yes.
you mentioned something. I just want to go back to it just to understand. You said with your job helping people before real estate, you had a job where you were helping people. I'm assuming.
Yeah, so I was in corporate, but I come from the accounting and finance side of things, accounts payable, accounts receivable. I also have, background in the medical field. Needless to say, I got burned out with the medical field, so that took me into a different path of accounting and finance. But basically, I have taken other risks being in other businesses like health and wellness, just for my own health, right? But also to help others.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things that you mentioned right now. It's like you spoke a few times about health and wellness.
Yes.
You also spoke about helping people kind of you want to make a difference, passionate about people's journeys to obtain wealth through real estate. Um, if we could, let's say, identify the types of people generally, when I say the people that you want to help obtain wealth through real estate, it sounds like you're talking about somebody that doesn't
Yeah.
yet have the wealth,
Investors.
investors.
Yeah.
Right. So are you talking more like experienced investors helping take a big portfolio, make it even bigger? And again, I'm doesn't matter about, I know you would work with anyone,
Yeah.
but when you're saying you want to help people make more wealth through real estate, is that you're helping people who already own a bunch of properties own more properties, or help people who don't own a home, or help people who want to get into investing to start? Like what are you thinking there?
Well, all of the above, but mainly to help people get a home, because get into a home specifically, right? Yes, I do work with investors. I'll work with anyone, but also helping people and educating them that buying a home is the most the best investment that they can make in their lifetime. So when it comes to that, is mainly educating them that buying a home is the way to go, and to stop paying rent, because they can build wealth and they can get into a home with probably equity in it. I'm not saying that that's the case for everything, but yeah, I mean, I would work with anybody, but working with investors and making their portfolio bigger, that's, a goal as well. But yeah, I mean, just helping them be homeowners, because that's the way to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So let me tell you what I got so far right now, right? So like I mentioned, I'm following a scale engine. So there's three parts to it. There's brand, automate, scale. So far when we're talking about like the goal that we want at the end of the day is to create predictable, repeatable systems to generate leads and capture leads. Now I'm going to take it a couple of steps farther, obviously, because you've generated leads in the past, but they had no way of converting. Converting them is a problem. So leads itself wasn't the problem. The problem is what next. So I always say generating leads isn't the hard part. Taking those leads and turning them into something, that's the challenge.
Yeah.
So I think that what happened to you with those little leads is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like it's very easy to get a whole bunch of names, numbers, emails, and stuff. You just throw an ad online saying, here's a list of homes. People will click on there. That's the easy part. But how do we
Yeah.
take that and actually make money out of it? So when I look at brand right now, I'm going to start with that. We've got I want to specifically look at the messaging component of brand, right? Because brand is identity, messaging, and marketing. So let's look at messaging. The three things that are important to identify is who are you targeting, what makes you different, and what's your lead magnet? How are you attracting those people? So a lot of the way that you were talking about the people that you want to serve, it doesn't sound, obviously, again, this is the underlying thing. You would help anyone who's looking to buy a home, obviously. But what gives you that passion, that fire, that energy and excitement is helping people attain the goal of home ownership. So people who maybe don't own a home yet, to get into the home, to start building that equity. So basically first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, you're not pigeonholing yourself, but you are reaching a demographic that right now feels disenfranchised, feels like with the interest rates and the high prices of homes, that they've got no shot. And then Franchesca comes along and provides plan B, says you can make this happen. You can do this, right? It's not so scary, and you're going to make that attainable. So one of the really important things about, for example, a webinar, which is actually going to be something that I want to suggest to you, but a big important part about a webinar, the way you structure it is, at the start of it, you create a massive lofty goal. This is where you are, this is where you want to be, and you paint that map. And then as the webinar progresses, you bridge the gap and you make it feel a lot more attainable for them. Because if you can get them at the beginning, say, wow, that's massive, and get them really excited about it, it can really like make them dream big. And they're willing to sit it out for 45 minutes because you framed it that at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen. Okay. And then it seems lofty, but then, like I said, you understand these things, you know the objections that they have in their heads. So as the webinar progresses, you can then break down those objections. So for example, with first-time home buyers, what are some common objections when it comes to first-time home buyers? So I don't own a home. I want to. I don't even think it's a possibility. So I'm not going to reach out to you, Franchesca, because in my mind, let's say I only make $65,000 a year. I'm an accountant or whatever, like a junior accountant. I don't even know if that's a thing, but I don't make a ton of money. I make enough to live relatively comfortable, but I'm only 30 years old and I want to buy my home, but I don't think I can. So I would never even call you. So you need to speak to me before I think to call you. And that's the challenge. So let's take a step back right now. What are some objections that I might have to where if you say, do you want to own a home? I would say, well, yes, but what would I say?
Yes, but we can start developing a plan for that goal to be more attainable. Developing a plan of action.
Let me reframe the question a little bit. Why don't I believe? Because if I don't believe I can own a home, I'll never call you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why don't I believe I can own a home? I'll tell you one reason, just so you understand what I'm asking. One reason is I don't think I have enough money to own a home. I don't think I have enough money to afford a down payment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's put that as number one. Not enough for down payment, right? What other reasons do I not think I'll be able to own a home? Or what other reasons am I not calling you to own a home? Because I think it's just too far off.
Interest rates are high. You're afraid?
1 second. Interest rates are high there for what?
Therefore, it'll cost more to buy a house.
So high monthly rate.
Yes.
High monthly cost, right?
Right.
What else? Why else wouldn't I want to call you? So we've got not enough money for the down payment. The interest rates are high, and I don't have enough money. Right now, we're not living paycheck to paycheck because, again, you've created your avatar. We haven't done it on this call, but the full process is you create your avatar. You know who you're targeting. I make $65,000 a year. I'm an accountant, and I don't have enough really to take on a $4,000 or $5,000 a month mortgage wherever you are. So those are the two reasons right now. What else do we have? Why else wouldn't I feel like I can buy a home?
I can think of inflation, which is kind of like the same. It falls into the same interest rate, kind of.
Yeah. Might I also suggest one is that the reason that I don't think I can get a home. Number one, even if it is possible, I'll have to like do this and that and like all of these other programs. I just don't know enough about it. I'm busy enough as it is. I don't have time. It's not that I don't have time to invest in a property. Like it probably wouldn't take me a ton of time, but like I don't know all that goes into it. It's confusing to me. And everyone knows this firsthand. Maybe they don't know it enough to say it to someone else, but they know it firsthand. As soon as something requires mental bandwidth,
Mm-hmm.
they check out.
Yeah.
So it's just too complicated. They just don't get it, right? Too
Right.
complicated. I'll say unattainable. That's really what's going on. So really, let's say we've got somebody who's 30 years old making about $65,000-$70,000 a year or something, actually does have enough to buy a home, but he doesn't think he has enough for a down payment. He doesn't think he can afford the monthly fees to actually purchase a home because he thinks the mortgage will be too high, and he doesn't have the time or the patience to go and learn everything about it, right?
Right.
Let's take that information and put it to the side right now. We're going to get back to that in a moment. So the thing that you were talking about was creating predictable, repeatable systems of generating leads, getting business that will actually convert. So you want to target first-time home buyers, yes?
Yes.
Okay. First-time home buyer investors, let's say, and let's even say it like this, buying your first investment property. So it's
Okay.
not that they don't own a home necessarily. Maybe they do own a home, but the point is it's your first investment property. That's a big step.
Mm-hmm.
What if you created a webinar on how to buy your first investment property? And that webinar, you partner with a lender. Hear this, right? So a lot of the time, let's say you don't have, let's say $500 a month to invest into ad spend, or $300 to invest into ad spend to go to Facebook. And even if you did, you didn't really know how to set up the ads, this and that. But here's the thing. What if you partnered with a lender and you said, this is what I want to do. I want to run webinars to show people the 3 mistakes that first-time investors make, or the 3 ways that you can purchase your first investment property. Now, I like the quote-unquote negative spin on it, meaning the 3 mistakes. The reason is because according to behavioral psychology, people up to 3 times more likely to take action out of fear of losing something than desire to get something, meaning people hate losing $100 3 times more than they like making $100.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I like, if your webinar is the 3 mistakes to watch out for, 3 red flags when it comes to buying your first investment property, for example, right? So that kind of thing, if you create a webinar and then you partner with your lender and you say, I've got the whole thing taken care of, the slides, the campaigns, the ads, I'll run the ads. All I need from you is to pay to promote the webinar. It's $300 a month. What investor wouldn't take that deal? Oh, sorry. What lender wouldn't do that? For $300 a month, you're telling me you're going to create a slideshow webinar. You're going to manage all of the promotions. You're going to send me a CSV file afterwards with all of the contacts of everybody that came into the actual webinar. You're going to manage absolutely everything. You're going to promote it on your social media. And all I have to do is pay $300 for ad spend. That's a done deal. So now your energy and focus, instead of waking up every day thinking, what do I need to do today? And maybe I should just do a post on social media because I don't know what else to do right now. You have one mission and one mission only. Create a webinar. And there's YouTube videos about this. And there's so many resources online showing you how to do this. You can literally write webinar scripts. Like there's AI writing tools where you can literally say, write a sequence of emails inviting people to a webinar script, and they'll write the whole thing for you. So your one goal is to create a webinar, create webinar emails. And then when you have that, you take that information, you go over to a lender and you say, this is what I have. I'm going to set this up totally. I've got the registration form. I've got the email set up. This is how I'm going to promote it online. And this is what you're spending your time now focusing on. How can I create this webinar? All you have to do is pay $300 to ad spend. And now when you've done it once, you've done it forever. You can now run a webinar every 2 months using the exact same slides that you've set up, using the exact same email campaign that you've already set up, using the exact same ads that you've already set up. It's done. And every single time this lender wants to get involved, he pays $300 admission fee, as it were. So he's covering your ad spend. This is front-loaded work. You do the little bit of work now, and it pays off forever. Okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But here's the step beforehand. There's another step that I wanted to do. Let's even say right now you're thinking, yeah, but that sounds like a little bit too far off right now, which it actually, if you break it down one step at a time, meaning how can I actually leverage this webinar? The way I would break it down is, don't think webinar. The first thing I would do is think first-time investor slideshow. All you want is that slideshow. Google it. There's a million of these things, right? A million people are doing this stuff. Just Google the slideshows. Get yourself a slideshow. It's basically just your buyer presentation with a little bit of information about you. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
So your first time investor slideshow. Now you've got your slideshow. That's step one of creating a webinar. Step two are the ads. Also, like I mentioned, inside of Inabox, we have all of this stuff done already for you. But if you're not in Inabox, it's fine. Go to YouTube and type in webinar ads and literally just replace that name of that webinar with your name of your webinar. So step one is the actual webinar. Step two is see which ads you're going to be running on Facebook and Instagram. Step three is create your campaigns, meaning your email campaigns to say, hey, the webinar is happening in an hour, which is basically just 3 emails, I would say. The email that goes out as soon as somebody registers, congratulations, you're officially confirmed. Here's the Zoom link. An email that goes out, let's say, an hour or two beforehand saying the webinar is starting in 1 hour. Here's the link to join. An email that goes out 10 minutes before saying the webinar is about to start in 10 minutes. Click here to join. Okay, that's it. So you've got get the slides, find the ads that you're going to be running, get the email sequences to go out. And then step 4 is once you've got all of those things, literally find a lender that would invest money, $300 to promote the thing that you've just put together. And now you're generating leads literally for free, forever, because you're never paying for the ad spend.
Right.
It transcends sphere of influence. You don't need a sphere of influence for this. Obviously, if you had a lot of people that you currently know, you could promote it to them. But you don't need to know these people because they're all new audience being paid for by this other person, by your lender.
Right.
So that's the first thing that I would do in terms of creating predictable revenue stream. I think running these webinars, and it could be, even if you get, let's say, 40 people to your first webinar, even if you get 10 people to your first webinar, that's fine. Get the experience, get comfortable with it, and then run it again. And then when you start to build up your email list, when these people start to come in, now, let's say you get 50 people to your first webinar, 70 to your second, and 80 to your third. By the time you want to run your fourth webinar, you can now send an email to all 50, 70, and 80 people that registered for the first 3. And now before you've even spent a penny on ad spend, you've promoted it to that 200 email list, 200 person email list. And it's free because your lender's paying for it. So the way it starts is create your webinar slides, find the ads that you want to run. And the reason you're doing all of this before you speak to the lender is because you don't want to go up to a lender with a hypothetical. You want to go up to the lender saying, this is what I have. I'm looking for someone. I'm coming to you first. Yes or no, do you want it?
Right.
Again, webinar, ads, campaigns, lender. Your 4 steps.
Okay.
Now, I want to take another step back for a moment. How do you start more conversations with people that you're not basically relying only on your ads to get people to your webinar? What about like in between the webinars? Does that mean you're not generating leads? Here's what you're doing. I think it's important to create a lead magnet that addresses each of the concerns that you spoke about why people believe that they can't purchase their first investment property. Things that you mentioned were that they don't have enough money for a down payment. Interest rates are high, so therefore the cost to manage this is high. And second off is that it's complicated and they don't have enough time to manage it. So if you created a lead magnet saying the 3 biggest myths about purchasing investment properties or about investing in real estate for first-time investors, 3 biggest myths. And myth number one, you need a massive down payment. Did you know that because of this and that, you can purchase your first investment property and start really building up your equity for as little as, 5% down, which in the Fort Worth area is $8,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you kind of discuss that a little bit. The second one is interest rates are too high, therefore the cost of living is too high. Well, if you have the right realtor on your team, you can find the properties that are healthy that will basically pay for themselves. Because for example, in your area, the opportunity that you found is, duplexes. And if you do it a duplex and you position it like this, then your mortgage is totally paid off. So you're handling objections before they even start. And then the final objection is, I don't have the time. So myth number 3 is it's too time consuming. And then you break it down. Number 1 is managing a property is not time consuming because I have my preferred property managers that will take care of everything for you. Step 2 is you have to know a whole bunch of stuff about how to do it. You don't need to know anything. All you need to do is book a call with me and I will ask the questions that I know I need to ask and manage everything from there. So now you can approach conversations instead of asking people, do you want to buy a home? And if you do, call me. You can now approach people and say, if you want to purchase your first investment property, I just created a guide on the 3 biggest myths when it comes to purchasing investment properties. Can I send it over to you? And then they say yes. They download it. They give you their information. They tell you where to send it. And now you're actually getting leads from people, because in order to get the information that you have, you need to get their information. And you're sending them stuff that is going to directly address each of the objections, which are the reason that people aren't calling you in the first place anyway. So if I have 100 people that think that I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, and the interest rates are too high, and then I send all 100 of those people this lead magnet showing them why each of those things isn't a thing, they might call you and they say, Franchesca, I just got your thing right now. I actually would like to purchase a home, but I always thought this is the case. Is it though? And then you can now have a conversation with it and then enlighten them. But they're not going to call you as long as they don't think it's a possibility for them to purchase a home. As long as it's so far out of the realm of possible in their head, they'll never call you. All you're doing is you're bridging the gap and you're inviting them. It's so non-committal. Here, just download this document, fill in the form, download this document. I'll send it over to you. And then now you have their information and you continue to email them. They'll give you a call when they read through it and realize that maybe you're on something. And it's so scalable because all you do is send it to people. That's all you're doing. This is your almost entry ticket. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're flipping it a little bit. How does that sound so far?
Sounds good. Great.
Does it sound simple?
It sounds simple.
Okay. You have a high inflection in your voice, which means that there's something stopping you.
Not easy, but simple.
Yeah. So not easy. So let's break it down then, because I really want at the end of this call, it's not my job on this call to just sound impressive. My job on this call is for the end of this, for you to go off, take the steps, come back and be like, I cannot believe how this stuff works. So I want to make it simple, yes, but also easy enough that you're actually going to take action on this. So when I'm saying this stuff, what's the initial hesitation that makes it that you don't feel like you're going to be able to get off this call and just get to it straight away? Anything?
I can't think of anything. I went to 2 lenders about farming an area and they told me no. So maybe asking a different lender would be, I don't know. I guess I feel weird about asking, but because of the objection I already got. But
and the objection was
that means I just need a different lender.
So just to confirm, the objection was that they didn't want to partner with you.
They didn't want to partner with me to farm. So my budget is not big, right? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to farm 2 areas of the FW where I can either send mail out, mailers, whether it's a newsletter or a market update or anything. So I did ask, if we could split the cost on those mailers. And so I already got shut down twice. So maybe I just need a different lender and go with someone else. But I think what's my hesitation, or maybe that's what you're sensing. But yeah.
So I have a couple of thoughts on this, a couple of initial thoughts. Number one is there is an element of a quantity game. So you might get shut down, and that's totally fine. That's part of it. So that's one thing that going into this, it's not like cold calling, because it's going to happen. This might happen, but at the end of the day, here's something that's important to recognize. I'm going to ask you a question, Franchesca. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that a webinar would work hypothetically, or do you believe that webinars work in general to convert people into paying clients?
Yeah.
Everyone basically knows that if done well, they work.
Yeah.
Which means that everybody wants it done, but nobody really knows how to do it. Mm-hmm. What if I came over to you and again, I know that you said that your budget right now for ad spend or for marketing isn't big, but let's say you had $300 to spend to pay for ads, and somebody came over to you and said, I've built out a whole webinar, a lender, I built out a whole webinar. Now, what I want to do for you is I want to partner with a realtor for this, because I'm trying to show how people can afford to purchase a home. And I want to partner with a realtor on this. I've built out the whole thing. I've got the slides done. I've got the templates done. Everything is totally created. But all I need to show your commitment in this is I'm looking for one realtor, and you will be the exclusive partner for every single person that wants to purchase a home at the end of this. If they want to work with me, they got to work with you. What's it going to cost you? $300.
Mm-hmm.
I've built the slides. I'll do the presentation. I'll answer questions about real estate, about whatever pertains to you. So in your case, real estate, in their case, being a lender. All I need from you is $300 to put to ad spend, and together we'll partner and we'll make this happen. The lead generation method that we've presented to this lender, he knows or she knows it works, because everybody knows that webinars work. The only problem is that there's a barrier of entry. I don't know how to do it.
Right.
Which is why you come in and you say, I figured it out. This is it. It's going to cost you $300. Now, I will tell you, if you don't have a bunch of money to invest in somebody else solving the problem, you have to solve the problem yourself. So the predicament that we're in right now is there's not a lot of money to invest. You don't know a ton of people in your area. And so if you don't have the money to invest and you can't pay somebody else to solve the problem for you, then your value is, how do I go and solve the problem for somebody that does have the money? And that's what you're going to do. So, but I'm actually going to break down the way you solve the problem. Like I mentioned, if you go onto I'll go ahead, I'll create a YouTube video after this, even about what a first-time homebuyer webinar looks like. But you can go onto YouTube, look up first-time homebuyer webinars, or look up investment webinars, sign up for an investment webinar, see exactly how they've done it, record it if you want, whatever you want, and basically just recreate a version of what they have. So step one, like I mentioned, is webinars, the actual slideshow. Step two are the campaigns to basically, once somebody registers, which emails are they receiving? And it's very simple. Like I mentioned, 3 emails. Confirmation, you're officially registered. 2 hours or an hour beforehand saying, click this link to join our Zoom room. And then 10 to 15 minutes beforehand saying, we're just about to get started. Now, do you have a CRM that you're using right now?
Yeah, it's my broker CRM, but yes.
Okay. Is it most CRMs? I can't imagine any CRM wouldn't have the capacity to do this.
Yeah, I think it does. It's KV Core.
KV Core, yeah. So right now what we've done is we've now said, this is exactly what you want to do inside of your CRM. How do I do this exact thing? Go into any Facebook group and ask how to do any of this stuff. Again, if I was with KV Core, I would open it up. I could show you inside of Inabox. But the idea is you literally just set up the campaign. That's it, right? So now you just need to build the slideshows. You need to set up the campaigns, the email campaigns, which is like 3 emails saying you've confirmed it's starting in 2 hours, and then it's starting in 10 minutes. The other thing is you need to find the ads, like just you're running the ads. So all you got to do again is just go onto YouTube, find which ads are working for first-time home buyers, and literally just run ads, right? Following the process that you'll be able to find basically anywhere online. And then your last step is you show all of this stuff to a lender and you say, this is what I've got. And like I said, your presentation is, I'm going to start running webinars to show people how they can buy their first investment property. This is the slideshow when you show it to them. I'm going to take care of the registration form, which your KV Core would be able to say, click this link to register, and it'd be able to do that, right? So I'm going to take care of people registering logistically. I'm going to make sure that the emails are being sent out afterwards to follow up with these people, try to get them in the room. I'm going to set up all of that stuff. I'm going to even run the ads. All I need from you is to invest $300 in ad spend. The biggest problem, the biggest reason that people don't run webinars is not because it costs $300 to run ads, it's because they don't know how to do it. And so if I was to give you one job to generate leads for free forever, because like I said, once it's done once, it's done forever, your job starting tomorrow or every single day when you wake up for work for the next week, because it wouldn't take you as long as you think it would, was how do I get those 4 steps done? The slideshow, the ads, the campaigns, the emails that go out, And then how do I find a lender to actually partner with me? When you could do that, you can then go over to the lender with all of these assets, say, this is done. Would you want to pay? And then he or she pays $300 every single time. You're generating leads for free, and you'll never have to do work on it again because it's built once, it's built forever. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
So does it feel a little bit different right now that you're presenting it, where you're not asking somebody a favor, you're presenting them with an opportunity?
Right.
Do you feel like that?
Yeah, I do. It's collaborating that is going to benefit us both. It's not just me. It's going to benefit us both.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So there's
You
always
just have
something.
to have the right, presented the right way.
Exactly.
It's what I got. Yeah.
Exactly. There's always something of value that anybody could offer. And if you have money, usually the value is I'll pay for someone's services. If you have time and resources or let's say resourcefulness, then oftentimes your value is I know how to get something done, or I'll figure it out and I'll take care of this. But that's your value, is you'll set up the webinar and then all you have to do is invest into it. That is the most important thing, I think, for you, because when you're talking about you set a system of generating leads predictably,
yeah,
you set this up once and you run this every single 2 months, and I spend $300 in ad spend, I get 50 leads into my webinar. Let's just say those are the numbers, which it will be something similar to that. And now I have my business in a way where I know every 2 months I'm going to get 50 new leads. Of those 50 leads, two of those leads will convert within 6 months. And then you build on those numbers. And then by the time webinar 7 rolls around, you're emailing all 350 leads that you've generated from the previous 7 webinars before you even start running ads. So you're starting at such a massive leg up, and this is how things really start to spiral. But the only thing stopping you from setting up the system to getting to that point is, I don't know how to run a webinar. And that's what you're going to figure out. How do I run a webinar? So once you've done that, your business strategy, your lead generation promo cycles are taken care of forever. Okay?
Yeah. When you, let me ask you something. When you say Inabox, is that totally different than your Facebook page? Literally, you have to sign up for Inabox?
Yeah, so Inabox is more of like an inner circle thing. So the Facebook
Okay.
page, the Facebook group that you saw right there, like we have a lot of resources in there, like the 5-day challenge and stuff, the 30-day video, ideas, all of the Canva templates. So those are free resources. Inabox is the inner circle, which comes with the Inabox software. It comes with the scale engine. It comes with twice a week coaching calls with myself, and also community like masterminds with the Inabox inner circle. But there's definitely a lot of, like, the fact that we figured all of these things out already, like, it's interesting to note. I figured out what I'm telling you to go figure out. And I figured out a lot more than that inside of Inabox, but just this one thing, people pay money to join Inabox for the things that I figured out.
Yeah.
And I just gave to them. So you're going to figure it out, webinars. You're going to give it to somebody. And in order to get access to your webinar, it's a $300 entry fee. Which loser, to be honest, if you're willing to do all of that work, wouldn't pay $300 to be the exclusive partner of your webinar?
Right.
And let's be real. If you don't have money to invest right now as your value, then your value is, I will find the solution, gosh darn it. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to find a webinar. You're going to sort it out. You're going to create it. And it's incomparable value.
Gotcha. Okay.
You don't need a sphere of influence to make this happen. It's irrelevant if you have a sphere of influence, because you're getting new people, you're building your audience. And then when you start to have these people, they become your sphere of influence. So I want to get into step 2 of this, because the first one is get the webinar done. This step 2 of it is how to actually follow up with them afterwards. But I just want to make sure, do you have any questions before we go on to the next part?
No questions.
Okay. The next part is actually very simple, I believe. How are you going to retain your status, as it were, as the authority when it comes to first-time investors? Because that's your demographic, is first-time investors. How are you going to maintain your status as the authority in that space? So there's a couple of things that we know. You need to remain top of mind, and you need to provide valuable information, yes?
Right.
Okay. What are investors looking for?
They're always looking for homes.
Homes that will do what?
Homes that are distressed.
But for what? What's the end goal? What do they want at the end of the day?
Um, a good deal.
Yeah, a good deal. What does a good deal look like to them? No, I'm not from a real estate perspective. From a bottom line perspective, what is a good deal?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, a home that has good bones, if that makes sense. A home that is not like, has decent structure. That way they don't have to put so much money into it.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
doesn't, a home that doesn't have like major things, right?
So I want to kind of correct your language a little bit here because you're talking like a realtor, and they're
I
not
know.
realtors; they're investors. So they couldn't
Yes.
give a crap about. I mean, they say they care about the bones of the home. They
Yeah.
do, but not because they care about the bones of the home. They care about the bones of the home because they care about one thing and one thing only. I want to
The
make more
number.
money, and I
Yeah.
want to do it passively.
Yes.
So if bad bones in a home made it that for some reason I could get more money, then I would want bad bones. That's not the case. But
Yeah.
all they care about is making more money. So you want to retain your status as the authority in terms of investment opportunities. Because if people are going to call you to take advantage of these deals and these opportunities, you need to consistently show them, I know how to find a good deal. I know how to find a good deal. I know how to make it easy. Those are the main objections. Everything goes back to the three objections. I don't have a lot of money to invest in a down payment. I don't need a big monthly expense, and I don't have a ton of time. So all of your marketing addresses those objections. What does this look like practically? After you've generated all of these leads, after you've done your webinar, let's say only a couple of them are going to convert. You still have, if you have 50 people in your webinar and 2 convert, you still have 48 people that didn't convert that you're then going to continue to nurture so that in a year or 2 from now, whatever it is, when they are ready, you're still top of mind. But the other thing is, you can't then go and start creating a whole new brand new email, writing a whole new story, a whole new blog post every single week. It's just too much work. So how do we simplify that? Well, like we mentioned, what do investors want more than anything in the world? They want opportunities that make money and require no time.
Right.
So if you had an email that goes out called Deal of the Week, and what you do is as follows. You have the same structure, the same framework. The first thing you do is you show a picture of the property and you say the address. Then you have 3 reasons why it's the best deal. Okay? And maybe each reason would address each of these objections. Okay? So reason number 1, or objection number 1 is that they say they don't have enough money for a down payment. So this is the deal of the week. And here are my 3 reasons why. Number 1 is, as long as you qualify for X, Y, and Z program, you would only need $6,000 down to be able to afford this property. Reason number 2, it's the best deal of the week. And objection number 2 is that interest rates are high, therefore it's a high monthly cost. So you're going to address that. Reason number 2, this is a great deal, is because seeing as there's a separate entrance to the basement and there are 2 living areas downstairs, you could do one quick thing to this or that. And then between both floors, you can make X amount of money with this property, and your monthly mortgage would be approximately this. Okay. So now they're seeing that it's actually a healthy property that will be making money for them, that won't require a lot of money, if any money, to basically pay the mortgage, right? They're already sold on the concept of equity. So all you basically need to do is address the fact that it's not going to cost, you don't need a ton of money up front for the down payment. It's not going to cost you a ton to manage it, which you've done. And then reason number 3 is it's too complicated or it requires too much time. Let's say reason number 3 could be, I don't know. I guess reason number 3 could always basically be the same or maybe honestly, maybe only 2 reasons. And then in the footer of your email can say, if you want to start building your own family's portfolio, but you're not sure where to start, book a call with me and we'll create a complete strategy. And then a link to your calendar underneath. So that's fine, actually. I kind of like that, right? So every week afterwards, as an email goes out saying deal of the week, you've got the house address and a picture of the property. A short reason that you think it's a great deal, 1, 2 reasons, and each of those addresses the 2 concerns, followed by at the end, if you want to take advantage, if you're interested in more deals like this, but you're not sure how to get started, book a time to talk, and we'll create your and give it a name, like your financial freedom, your future financial freedom strategy, and then book a time on your calendar. It's the same template every single week that goes out. Deal of the week, picture, a short bio about the house, reason 1, reason 2, footer always stays the same. If you want to take advantage of deals like this, book a time to talk with me. The only thing that ever changes in there is the house that you're promoting and the 2 reasons why this is a great deal. And always, 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 reason number 1 addresses the fact that the objection that I don't have enough for a down payment. You address that. Every week you're saying, if you qualify for X, Y, and Z program, then it would only cost you X amount of dollars up front to be able to afford this house. And then reason number 2, it's a great deal, is this is basically what it looks like in terms of income to expense ratio.
Right. Okay.
So once you've templatized that, you can really streamline it and just go every single week. It never changes. How is that all looking right now?
Good. It's looking good.
Okay. Does it sound simple enough?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the final part of the scale engine is scale, which, to be honest, right, we've got brand, automate, scale. So if I look at this, right, you've got brand, your messaging is who are you targeting, what makes you different, and what's your lead magnet? How are you generating more leads? So there's actually 2 ways of generating leads that we've spoken about. One I just briefly mentioned, but your avatar is first-time investors. What makes you different is that you just want to help people, and that's kind of why you got into this space. And so everything that you're talking about, every message that you ever make on social media, email, is all about, I just want to help people accomplish their goals of securing their financial future, looking after their family's financial future. Whatever that messaging is, that's your story. I just want to help you. Okay? Your lead magnet, we briefly discussed about the 3 biggest misconceptions. I'm not going to get into that because I want to focus more of our energy on the second part and the third part, which is automate and scale. Automate is every week you send a deal of the week to your database, right? Every week you send a deal of the week to your database. Address the concerns. Objection number 1 is not enough money for down payments. So reason number 1 is a great investment is you only need this much to get in there. Objection number 2 is interest rates are high. And so therefore reason number 2 is this is basically what the financials will look like. And then the last part is scale. How are you going to scale up? Is you get your webinar, you find a lender. Once you've got your lender and it works once, they'll keep on investing. And then all you do is just pour more money into the ads using the same systems that you've already set up for yourself to run the webinars, to follow up with them after the webinar set up, and you just keep on investing into the machine that you've just built for yourself. That's what a scale engine actually is. And that's how your business, regardless of your sphere of influence, will actually scale up.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. So is this something, again, I don't want to just provide good hypothetical information. I want this to be something that you're going to come off of here and actually leverage. Is this something that you're going to be able to come off and start taking action on?
Yeah, I'm going to take action on this for sure.
Okay, fantastic. So what's the first job then that you've got to be doing after you get off this call?
Get on YouTube, create slides.
There you go.
Presentation. Yeah.
Exactly. Create the slides, get the first time investor webinar done, partner with the lender, and then create your email template inside of KV Core, which goes out every single week to your database with deal of the week. The same template that we've just gone over. Again, it's recorded. So if you need to go back over slowly, slow it down, right? Deal of the week. And then you just keep feeding the beast, keep feeding it, and it just grows and grows and grows into something magnificent. That, for me, is the strategy that I would really leverage for you. That's how I would implement it. And it's a little bit of upfront work, but that is the meaning of scale. It's all about working smarter and not harder. And if you work smarter today setting this up, you'll be able to work a lot less difficult, or you'll be able to work a lot less hard later on down the line when it's all set up and it's all done. And that is your ticket to a better life. And that's your ticket, in my mind, to a better career. So Franchesca, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
My absolute pleasure. And yeah, this has been fun. And keep following the content. Again, it's The Real Marketer. If you're listening to this and not yet in the Facebook group, go onto Facebook, send me a DM if you want to kind of just connect. Also send me a DM if you want to apply to come on to the show as our next guest. And check out Facebook, the Real Estate Business Owners Facebook group. And also, if you want to kind of look into possibly leveraging these systems and everything for yourself and more of a done for you capacity, go to goinabox.com, and looking forward to scheduling a time to talk and moving forward together.